Welcome to Reformed Thinking. Today, we're digging into the private diary of David Brainerd, a missionary back in the 1740s. We're going to get a look at what his own words tell us about his really intense and often agonizing work with Native American communities in colonial America. That's right. Now, Jonathan edited this diary after Brainerd died, but these are Brainerd's own words. We're really focusing on the time right after his ordination in 1744, as he's just starting his mission in what was then the total wilderness of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Brainerd's diary, it gives us this raw, unfiltered look into a life of just incredible hardship. This one desire to gain souls to Christ, it drove everything he did, no matter what it cost him personally. And, the first and most unavoidable thing you see in his diary is the just sheer physical suffering he had to deal with out in the wilderness. He wrote that his nature was so spent that he could neither stand, sit, nor lie with any quiet. I mean, this wasn't just a bad day. This was his constant reality from the moment he got to his post near the Forks of Delaware, right? And these vapory disorders he mentions, what we would probably call severe depression or anxiety today, they went hand in hand with his physical pain. So this physical weakness, it created a huge spiritual crisis. His sickness didn't just hurt his body, he felt like it crippled his ability to read, to pray, or even to think straight, leaving him feeling totally useless out there. But here's the thing, even in this constantly weak state, he still took on these unbelievably tough journeys. One trip alone, on horseback and on foot through the colonial frontier, covered more than 600 miles. And all of this suffering was the backdrop for his actual mission among the Delaware and Susquehannah peoples. And that work was a constant story of really sharp contrasts. He would see these incredible signs of success. People literally weeping during his sermons, including one man he figured was about 100 years old. But then he'd be absolutely crushed the next day, watching them take part in rituals that he called devil worship in his diary. And this constant yo-yo between hope and despair, well, it fueled his biggest battle, which wasn't with his health or with his listeners, but the one that was fought inside his own mind. He was just constantly hammered by this deep sense of his own sinfulness and what he saw as his own inward corruption. This wasn't some vague feeling. It was a very specific and painful awareness of the sin he saw in his own heart. He was terrified of his own pride. He agonized that maybe his missionary work was secretly being fueled by a desire to have a big reputation that would last. He just relentlessly picked apart even his best intentions, always looking for that stain of selfish ambition. His main weapon in this inner war was the discipline of prayer and fasting. He would often set aside whole days, all by himself in the woods, not for just a quick prayer, but as a desperate plea for God to step in against his own spiritual emptiness and the resistance he was facing. So when you look at it, the resistance from the outside, his body collapsing on the inside, and this turmoil in his soul, Brainerd was pushed to one single conclusion. I mean, think about it. Every single human support is stripped away. His health, any real companionship, visible results. So what was the source of his perseverance? What kept him from just walking away? His diary shows again and again that his only hope was in God's direct intervention. He became totally convinced that in his own strength, he could do absolutely nothing. This sense of complete helplessness led him to his core motivation. It wasn't about his own success or even saving souls as the final goal. His driving passion was that God would be glorified because he believed the entire work was God's cause for God's glory. So Brainerd's life, just filled with weakness and struggle, really forces us to ask the question, where does the strength for Christian service actually come from?